Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. With the release of the new World of Warcraft expansion, The War Within, there's a ton of excitement in the air, especially for those of us who love to tank. Whether you're gearing up for Mythic plus dungeons, preparing for the first raid tier, or just wanting to be the reliable rock your group can lean on, knowing which tank to play at the start of the expansion can make a huge difference. In this video, I'm going to break down the best tanks for the War Within expansion, covering everything you need to know to make an informed choice. We'll look at their strengths, weaknesses, and how they stack up against each other in the early stages of the expansion. So let's dive right in. Before we get into the rankings, let's talk about why it's so important to choose the right tank, especially at the start of an expansion. The beginning of an expansion is often the most challenging time for tank players. Everyone is still learning the dungeons, adjusting to new mechanics, and dealing with gear that's far from optimal. As a tank, your role is to lead your group through these challenges, and that means you need to be confident in your class's abilities. Picking a tank that not only fits your playstyle but also excels in the current meta can make your experience much smoother and more enjoyable. The War Within brings with it a lot of changes to tanking. We've seen new abilities, talent reworks, and some interesting adjustments to how each tank plays. Some tanks have received significant buffs, making them top contenders, while others might have been hit with nerfs that put them in a less favorable position. In this video, I'll be considering a few key factors when ranking these tanks. Their overall damage output, survivability, self-sustain, utility, and how easy or difficult they are to play. The fun factor is of course always subjective, but it's something to keep in mind as well. Let's start with the Guardian Druid. Druids have always been a popular choice for tanks, and for good reason. They have a great toolkit that combines strong defensive cooldowns with decent self-healing and a simple, straightforward playstyle. In this expansion, Guardian Druids continue to be a solid choice, especially for those who prefer a tank that can handle large pulls and absorb a lot of damage. However, it's important to note that while Guardian Druids excel in AoE damage, they might struggle a bit with single-target encounters. The recent nerfs to some of their abilities have balanced them out, making them less dominant than in previous expansions. But don't be discouraged if you're looking for a tank that's reliable and can withstand heavy hits. The Guardian Druid is still a great option. To rank the Guardian Druid, I would place it in the B tier. Guardian Druids are reliable, especially in AoE situations, but like I mentioned earlier, they struggle with single target damage and magic-based attacks. They're solid but not top tier at the moment. Next up is the Blood Death Knight, a class that has always been synonymous with self-sustain and durability. In the War Within, Blood DKs remain as tanky as ever, with a playstyle that revolves around healing themselves with Death Strike and absorbing damage with Bone Shield. What makes Blood DKs particularly strong in the early stages of the expansion is their ability to solo tank almost any content, thanks to their incredible self-healing and high effective health. They are less reliant on healers, making them a good choice for players who enjoy being self-sufficient. However, Blood DKs can be a bit tricky to master due to their reliance on resource management and timing. But if you enjoy a challenge and like the idea of being a nearly unkillable force on the battlefield, Blood DK is definitely worth considering. Like I said, the Blood Death Knights, with their unmatched self-healing, are nearly unkillable and can handle anything thrown at them. This is why they deserve the spot in S tier. Now, let's talk about the Protection Warrior, which has seen a resurgence in popularity thanks to some decent buffs. In the War Within, Protection Warriors are known for their consistent damage output and excellent defensive capabilities. With abilities like Shield Block and Spell Reflect, warriors can mitigate a lot of damage, making them incredibly durable in both dungeons and raids. The recent changes have made them even stronger, particularly in their ability to deal with physical damage. If you're looking for a tank that can dish out damage while also being nearly impossible to kill, Protection Warrior might be the tank for you. They are straightforward to play, making them accessible for both new and veteran players. The Protection Warriors are incredibly durable and easy to play, and they provide good damage, making them a top choice. For some reason, they always shine at the start of the expansion. I think this time this will be the case again. That's why I will place them in S tier. Let's move on to the Vengeance Demon Hunter, a tank known for its mobility and high burst damage. In the War Within, Demon Hunters continue to shine when it comes to pulling large packs of enemies and burning them down quickly. With abilities like Metamorphosis and Fell Devastation, They can unleash huge bursts of damage while also being able to survive heavy incoming damage during these cooldowns. However, outside of their cooldowns, they can feel a bit squishy, which means you'll need to be strategic about when to engage and when to back off. If you enjoy a fast-paced, high-risk, high-reward playstyle, Vengeance Demon Hunter could be a great fit for you. Demon Hunters excel in burst damage and mobility but will rely on a healer with big packs. This is why the Vengeance Demon Hunter is just shy of the top-tier spot and will be placed in the A tier. Brewmaster Monks are up next, and they bring a unique playstyle to tanking with their stagger mechanic. Instead of taking all their damage up front, Monks stagger a portion of it, making them great at handling consistent incoming damage. In the war within, Brewmaster Monks remain strong, especially in situations where they can take advantage of their agility and mobility. They do require a bit more finesse to play effectively, as managing your stagger and knowing when to purify it is key to staying alive. If you're looking for a tank that's a bit more complex but offers great rewards for mastering its mechanics, Brewmaster Monk is a solid choice, in the same spot as the Vengeance Demon Hunter. We've got Brewmaster Monks in the A tier, and for the same reason. Brewmasters are great at handling steady damage with their stagger mechanic, and their output damage is really good, but they do require a healer. Lastly, we have the Protection Paladin. Paladins have always been versatile tanks, offering a good mix of damage, healing, and utility. However, in the war within, Protection Paladins are in a bit of a tough spot. Recent nerfs have reduced their damage output and made them less durable than in previous expansions. That said, Paladins still bring a lot of utility to the table, including strong group healing with Word of Glory and the ability to self-heal in emergencies. If you're someone who enjoys a tank with a lot of buttons to press and the ability to support your group in various ways, Protection Paladin might still be worth considering, even if they're not currently at the top of the meta. Unfortunately, Paladins are struggling at the moment due to recent nerfs. Their damage and survivability have taken a hit, making them the weakest tank right now. While still playable, they require more effort to keep up with other tanks. That's why I will place them in the C tier. So, there you have it, a breakdown of the best tanks at the start of the war within. Each of these tanks brings something unique to the table, and your choice will ultimately depend on your playstyle and what you find enjoyable. Whether you prefer the self-sustain of a Blood Death Knight, the resilience of a Protection Warrior, or the mobility of a Vengeance Demon Hunter, there's a tank out there that's perfect for you. Remember, the meta can shift as the expansion progresses, so it's always good to stay informed and adapt as needed. But at the end of the day, the best tank is the one you enjoy playing the most. Thanks for watching, and if you found this video helpful, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on future content. Until next time, happy tanking.